It's time to pull up a stool and grab your spot at the bar. The stadiums are dark, the scoreboards are off, and the final whistle has long since blown. But in here, the lights stay on. Welcome to the ETB Lounge on the Empty the Bench Network. This is your official post-game nightcap, where we break down the biggest hits, pour one out for the heartbreaks, and dive into the stories that linger long after the clock hits zero. Whether you're here for sharp analysis or one last round of sports talk with the best fans in the game, you've come to the right place. The games are over, and the conversation is just getting started.
Hello everybody and welcome in to a new edition of the ETB Lounge. I'm Tom Albano and yes, I am joining you once again for the second time in a row. We got a lot to talk about. I got a lovely group, a lovely panel with me this week. And so once again, I'd like to welcome you all into the ETB Lounge, everybody. Filling in once again, and we've got a packed 2 hours full of sports, controversy, business, and some stories that honestly sound like that they were made up. We'll start with the aftermath of the MLB Trade Deadline, where the deals are done, the rosters are set, and now comes the fun part, figuring out which contenders actually did enough to position themselves for October. We'll break down the biggest winners and losers, look at which teams made the moves that could change the World Series picture. Pardon me, where did that come from?
I don't know.
And ask which contenders may look back and wish they had been a little more aggressive. Then we're going from the baseball diamond to one of the strangest NBA investigations we've seen in quite some time. The league's investigation into Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers' alleged salary cap circumvention that has taken yet another bizarre turn, with questions now surrounding an endorsement deal involving Daktronics. No relation to Dak Prescott, Christie. It's the company behind the massive Halo board at Intuit Dome. We'll get into what the NBA is actually investigating, what the potential consequences could be for the Clippers, and where the line is between creative cap management and outright circumvention. In Hour 2, we shift to the NFL, where a wave of massive contract extensions is once again changing the market. Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zay Flowers, and others are cashing in. So we'll ask whether the running back market is truly making a comeback, whether Baltimore made the right call getting Flowers locked up early, and which contracts could end up looking like bargains or disasters down the road. Mm-hmm. We'll also get into the latest developments surrounding the WNBA and Sophie Cunningham, as protests and controversy continue to surround the Indiana Fever guard. Then we'll head into the broadcast booth where J.J. Watt is getting a massive opportunity alongside Jim Nantz as CBS navigates the future of Tony Romo following his OWI arrest. Is Watt ready to become a number one analyst? And if this ultimately becomes a permanent change, who could CBS turn to next? And we'll close things out with a sports business roundtable covering 3 very different stories with one common theme: money and the future of sports. FIFA has reversed course on controversial World Cup commercialization plans. The New York Yankees have partnered with prediction market giant Polymarket, and Live Golf is restructuring its future after securing new investment. What does all this tell us about where the sports business is heading? And joining me tonight are 3 members of the ETB family. First of all, to my immediate right, Christy Wilson. You'll see her every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern for Between the Ropes. Big wrestling, big Dallas Cowboys fan. Christy, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Got my drink ready to talk.
As do I. As do I. All the drinks really pouring out tonight.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Below me is Connor Rowland. You can catch him.
Below me. My bad.
We know. We know who the prankster is on this show, I guess.
Yes.
Every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Unnecessary Wagers, he's going to be the sports betting and market analysis brain of this show. Connor, how you doing tonight?
I've been doing pretty good. You know, Friday show went really well, and I tallied it up, and we had an almost 80% hit rate on what we predicted, which is
nice.
Which is pretty nice.
Cool.
Very good. All right, and then diagonal from me is the one and only my man Zan Bando, my old co-host. You can let's see, ETB Sports, Bando's Breakdown, Zanzinger Part 2, Forever Power 5 coming back soon. Tough Enough, our show.
Yeah,
Am
Tough
I
Enough
missing anything else?
Football forecast. This show sometimes I think I've been on every single show of our catalog except for like 3 of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You're gonna usually get the nickname the Iron Man of ETB, Zan. There you go.
Are we sure? Are we 100% sure Nick Morganson and Calvin McClure are the faces of this network? I think there's an argument here that it's Sam Bando.
Yeah, there could be one made on that one.
No, I think there certainly could be a solid argument for sure.
Yes.
But we got plenty of baseball, football, basketball, sports betting, sports media, and plenty of business drama on the menu tonight. So grab a seat, settle in. Let's get the conversation started. Make sure to follow us on social media at ETB Network for the show. And you can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can follow, that was for the network. And you can follow the show at the ETB Lounge on Twitter and Instagram. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Make sure to hit like and make sure to subscribe. We're getting closer and closer to the watch hour goal. We're over 1,150 subscribers right now. And so, yeah, plenty of good things are going on here at the ETB Network, and I'm laughing right now because he says I resent. I think you mean resent that, Nick. But
yeah, I think that's what. I'm like, what? What do you say?
So make sure to hit like, make sure to subscribe, and help us grow. And shout out to all of you who are watching on the X platforms as well. Make sure to come to the YouTube home and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button.
Please do.
As seen here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get the night started, shall we?
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to start things off with the MLB Trade Deadline. So that's come and gone. The trade deadline was this past Monday. The dust has all settled. We got over 70% of trades finalized in the week leading up to the deadline. They involved relief pitching or utility bench depth. We've got some crazy wild card races, especially within the American League. And so, actually, wild card race in both leagues remains separated by under 3.5 games, fun fact, entering into this final stretch of the regular season. So, which contender made the single trade that elevates World Series odds? Who sat on their hands and twiddled their thumbs and did nothing? Zan, let's start with you. When you look at all the contenders that actually went for it, which team made the move that tells you they legitimately believe that they're built to win the World Series? And then on the opposite front, which team was going to look back at the deadline and realize they didn't do enough?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So I guess you could start here. And I was actually in attendance for this to see his first game in a new uniform. I think the overreaction of the non-Dodger fan community with the Scooble deal was very, very interesting. You had the people that quickly turned on the Dodgers after a couple of games versus the people who were saying that the Dodgers are going to be fine. So I would say, I don't know if they're necessarily the biggest loser of the trade deadline versus but I feel like his first starting in Chicago got a whole lot of attention, and they obviously lost that game as well. So I feel like that was sort of a major hot stove sticking point, and just to see the overall reaction of him going on the road and not pitching as well as he probably should have was very, very surprising. So I'd say to start there, that would be one, and I feel like a lot of the contenders, for the most part, in most of the divisions at least, I feel like are starting to separate themselves. But I do think there are a couple of divisions, though, to where it just leaves you scratching your head because of the, I guess, mediocre play. And I think the AL Central is a very good example of it. It's currently August 9th, and I could not tell you who I think is going to win that division because almost every single team in that division is still in contention. And yeah, there's just a lot more parity in baseball this year than I've realized in the last couple of years. But I would say, sort of just starting with, are the Dodgers overspend, is baseball really that unfair? I feel like that's been like a really interesting talking point just over the last several days. So I kind of wanted to start on the schoolboy front, and I'm curious to hear what the rest of the panel has to say.
Yeah, and Zan, on that note, I think that's kind of, and I was talking with Nick DiMartino about this on Moving the Goalpost back on Thursday. I think that's the insane part and why the Skubal deal is such a fire-burning point. Not just that he was traded to the Dodgers, but that the Tigers are only a couple of games out of the last wild card spot.
Yeah.
Nick DiMartino said, and I think he's right, whoever finishes in that last wild card spot at the end of the season is probably going to be 500, if not just a little bit above it. So
Yeah, that's what I
them
was
trading,
thinking as well. Yep.
so that adds to the insanity of trading Skubal away and trading Casey Mize away. They did that right before the deadline hit.
That's true, they did.
On that note, Connor, are there any teams whose deadline hype you think that people are overreacting to and betting markets are overreacting to?
I would say, surprisingly, no. There's a lot of the teams that you could classify as an underdog are either, at this point, just a flaming dumpster fire, and they're the underdog because they suck, right? Or they're the underdog because they excel in certain fields really, really well, and then have like terrible relief pitcher issues, blowing leads, things like that. I think of the Nationals. I think of the Athletics that went like on like a 17-game loss rather recently. The Twins, they have a real problem of doing that. These are teams that are offensively sound but have their weaknesses. So I don't think the trade deadline affected any of those teams per se. I do feel like a lot of people are overemphasizing how it's affecting the Dodgers. Anytime the Dodgers go up on DraftKings or FanDuel, wherever you're looking at, they're always a negative 170 at minimum. So it's like they're not like on the days where they're negative 250, it's because Sohei's on the bump. So I don't feel like the Skubal trade is really as groundbreaking as people put it.
I think the other thing, by the way, Connor, on that note, I was looking at World Series odds just before. I forget which book I was looking at, but it had the Dodgers at +1 something, and then the next highest was, I think, the Yankees at like +400 something. Like it was a 300, or maybe the Brewers, but regardless, it was a 300-point jump between the Dodgers and whoever was next. That's how it is. Like, that's how much faith people have at this point in the Dodgers making the World Series again. On that note, Nick Morgeson throwing a comment in. It's not the trade that is the issue. It's the advantage of money that the Dodgers have and the major market teams having a spending advantage that'll lead to a lockout.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can understand when one team has, obviously, a resource as important as money as more than another team. But, and I'm not putting the responsibility on everyone else when I say this, but I feel like it's also largely indicative of just how bad, I want to say bad, but outdated baseball contracts are. In football contracts and TV contracts, there are always other sources of revenue rather than us giving you a big pile of money. And I feel like if sports agencies and sports teams got a little bit better with thinking a little bit more outside the box with their contract options, they wouldn't be so hard pressed by the fact that they get outbid by the Dodgers. They could come together with a comprehensive compensation package that can still rival what the Dodgers are willing to give you.
And that's something that Nick DiMartino again was talking about on Moving the Goalpost, that technically the teams like the Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, they could all do some of the stuff that the Dodgers have done, deferred money, etc. It's just that, the Dodgers are the first, not that they're the first team to do it, but the first team to do it to such an extreme that we've seen. And ultimately now it's gotten to the point where, every star is being targeted by the Dodgers. It's getting to the point where every star player is connected to the Dodgers somehow. When the Dodgers are going on these winning streaks, it's this whole it's this whole idea of the Dodgers are ruining baseball. But as I mentioned in the clip that went out on MTGP's social media account today, Nick D and I were talking about, yeah, but you know what? The Tigers trading their star pitcher when they're only 2 games out of the wild card. That ruins baseball. The Orioles trading away all of the Orioles trading away all of their young talent. Poor Adley Rutschman getting traded away when, he could have been somebody who helped bring the Orioles up to another level that's not a basement dweller, and now he's gone to Boston. So Ben's obviously happy about that, but the poor Orioles fans are frustrated for yet another year. So
Red Sox fan here. I don't know how I honestly feel about getting him. I mean, hope he helps, but who knows?
You did give up all those prospects. Fair enough.
You did, yeah, you did. I'm like, what? Why?
Almost every Boston fan I've met has had the same complaint, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Christy, on that note, you think about all these complaints that we have right now about some of these trades that have happened, and you consider the impending lockout, and you consider also all the changes that have been going on with baseball since the last CBA. We kind of just referenced it, how 3 teams now in each league make up wild card teams. Do you think baseball's deadline still has the same juice it used to, or has the current wild card structure make it harder for some of these individual moves to feel so decisive?
It's definitely changed a lot. I mean, the trade deadline doesn't have that same impact that it used to have many, many years ago. Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
That's all right.
It's almost like, I hate using these words because Yankee fans like to use these words, and holding Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, when they talk about it being the playoffs being a crapshoot, because to some degree they are right, just because now you have so many teams. This is not the era that I grew up in as a little kid where 8 teams made the playoffs. It was 1 wild card, the 3 division winners, and that was it. Now half the league, a little less than half the league, makes the postseason. So it's just some of those cases
for everybody.
Right. Sometimes it's about getting hot at the right moment. That's what we talk about with the football playoffs as well.
That's true.
So I guess now.
I personally think the expanded MLB playoffs has watered the game down, but that's an entirely different discussion. And I also just wanted to make one more point. I think our frustration with the trade deadline, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, and I spoke about this several weeks ago when I did a small segment on blackouts. You can't grow the game of baseball if you can't get the average person invested in all of these trade deadline sprees when half of the trades don't even make sense for the teams that are involved.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
No. And so now that we're sitting here, Chrissy, were you going to say something?
No, I was just agreeing with Zan on what he said.
Okay.
And Nick's comments. So.
Of course.
Yeah, I was going to say, how the hell has that guy had a job if he's had his ass on a line since winning World Series in 2009? I don't get it.
I mean, some of the, 90s dynasty Yankee power still rubs off on him, even though that team was set up by Gene Stick Michael, but nevertheless.
Yeah, Brian Cashman's has more than the 9 lives of a cat, that's for sure.
Well, I guess the question then I go to is, where do the impending CBA negotiations and lockout fall into all of this?
I think it's the most important part.
Because I remember on Monday, Zan, before I let you continue.
No problem. He's done. I was just simply adding to your point that I think the impending CBA and lockout is, I think, the most important piece of this whole puzzle.
Yeah, and I think on Monday I was watching some of the trade deadline coverage from, I want to say it was ESPN, and one of the things that I think it was Jeff Passan, no, it wasn't Jeff Passan, it was the roundtable that they were talking about is some of these guys with 1 or 2 years left on their deal, were you really going to see some of them actually get moved when you consider, we don't know what's going to happen to baseball next year. No, we don't know if everybody if everything is going to be clear because it's going to get done by March. We don't know if we're going to still be sitting here come early mid-March, and then you're going to start to see spring training games get canceled and regular season games get canceled. And right, the All-Star game, and just what's going to happen to contracts in general.
Yeah, and speaking of the All-Star game, given that it's in my city next year, It could be an economic disaster if that game doesn't get played. So that could be a total mess.
Yeah.
And Zan, unfortunately, that might be a reality, the way negotiations are going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this season starting on time, honestly,
No,
guys.
I don't either.
I don't either.
The big nightmare is, like I say, they do in some dream reality create a form of a salary cap or something that functions as a salary cap for teams. What are you going to do to existing contracts? Are you just telling all baseball players, okay, you guys missed the cut because of this new rule, you guys have to get paid this way, whereas everyone else currently in the league gets a different route? That's going to be a nightmare.
So, I actually, on that note, Connor, I was Googling, what happens to MLB contracts in this kind of situation. If the entire 2027 MLB season is wiped out by a labor stoppage, existing player contracts do not automatically vanish, but they are effectively frozen. The ultimate resolution for salary, service time, and contract lengths depends on entirely on whatever compromise terms the league and the MLBPA eventually write into a new CBA. So basically, if we lose the entire 2027 season in the nightmare scenario that some of us fear, it's going to be up to the negotiations to decide what happens. If contracts are going to be, like, is it going to be NCAA style where they're going to be granted another year, or is that year just going to magically vanish? And I think you're going to have, and it's going to be an issue either way, because
Especially for incentive-based contracts. For those,
Yeah.
Right.
For those of them who are writing out on that side.
Yeah, absolutely. And you consider on one hand, I don't think players are going to go for the entire contract disappearing simply because, I mean, somebody brought up a point before, I think it was somebody on social media. These guys struggled to negotiate for a shortened 2020 season during COVID. Something like this might be a little bit of a nightmare, especially if we're talking about a salary cap and salary floor. On the other hand, this could also be detrimental for teams. Think about it from, let's say, the Yankees' standpoint, if they have to have another year of Giancarlo Stanton.
Yikes.
And even on the Aaron Judge side, like, he's already signed till he's about 40. Like, are you going to have that contract then till he's 41? Like, teams with not just developing players gone, but even aging players on big contracts. This could be make or break.
Yep.
So there's a lot that's going to go into Major League Baseball right now. And there's going to be a lot of questions about what's going to happen. And actually, I'm going to throw one more question out at you, because I know this clip is coming out tomorrow on MTGP's account, but I proposed it to Nick D, and I'm curious what you guys think. Because I lean towards one way, but all of a sudden my mind went to another point.
Okay.
Is it worse for the negotiations if the Dodgers do win another World Series, or is it worse if another team wins a World Series? Simply because my mind says, if the Dodgers win another World Series, the owners are really going to use that as leverage beyond maximum capacity for the cap. But I think if another team wins a World Series, you're going to see the players use that as maximum leverage to say, look, this team beat the Dodgers or whoever in the World Series. We don't need a cap. Hell, even if the Milwaukee Brewers or Atlanta Braves beat the Dodgers in the NLCS, to use that to say, we don't need a cap simply because anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
I feel like if let's say the Brewers win, because I think they're the next best choice, right? Say the Brewers win, go Brewers! So happy to see that. However, that's just kicking the can down the road. I mean, yeah, for the season they may choose not to. I think this. I know this is two totally different topics, because one's about the finance sector of a sports agency, and the other's about say the gameplay aspect. But I think about the tush push with the Eagles. It became very clear at one point the tush push was about to get banned. And when the Eagles realized that, they just started spamming it as much as they could because they were about to lose it. And then somehow it didn't end up happening. All that's doing is kicking the can down the road for them making a decision on the tush push. It's going to come back around next season. And so with this particular instance of, let's say the Brewers win, okay, salary cap's not an issue. Next season rolls around, the same stuff happens, the same teams are going to cry about it, and the same, sort of scratching our head, what are we going to do about this is going to take place. So I think they need to come to a decision about it now, and the Brewers winning would only probably lengthen how long it takes for us to get there.
Right.
Fair enough. Let's go on to let's move from the MLB to the NBA. Let's talk about all this stuff with Kawhi Leonard. So the NBA's 11-month investigation into Kawhi alleged cap circumvention has taken a bizarre new turn. A report from Pablo Torre reveals the league is looking into a second multi-million-dollar endorsement deal, this time with Daktronics, the South Dakota company that built the massive video board inside Intuit Dome. Daktronics doesn't run consumer advertiser or hire celebrity endorsers, prompting sources to allege the deal was 1,000% a way to funnel money from the Clippers back to Kawhi to circumvent the salary cap. This secondary investigation continues to drag out the situation, keeping Kawhi's proposed trade to Toronto completely stalled on hold. Daktronics designed and installed a double-sided Halo board at Intuit Dome, representing one of the largest scoreboard contracts in venue history. This story has moved beyond a normal contract dispute, guys. This isn't about whether Kawhi received money or not. It also appears to be asking whether the Clippers helped to create a financial arrangement designed to get around the league's rules. Christy, we'll start with you. We've seen sports leagues punish teams for trying to get creative with the rules before.
Yes.
If the Clippers are found to have intentionally circumvented the cap, should the punishment be severe enough to affect the franchise for multiple seasons?
Yes, because they shouldn't be allowed to get away with stuff like this. They know the rules, and yet they decided to see they could get around it. So the punishment should be pretty severe, in my opinion.
All right. And there's all this talk about potentially, trying to work out a deal because Adam Silver wants to maintain some sort of friendly relationship with Steve Ballmer.
Oh, God.
I don't know. This was going to be my next. What do you mean Beaker at it again?
I called Adam Silver Beaker because you reminded me of Beaker from the Muppets. That's where Nick got it from. It's my fault.
Oh, I knew he was talking about with Beaker. I knew it was a Muppet reference. I didn't. Adam Silver's a Muppet.
He's a Muppet.
Here's the thing, though, Christy. Beaker is a lot more likable than Adam Silver.
He's way more likable than Adam Silver, definitely.
Connor, let's forget the NBA for a second. From a business standpoint, what would make a company like Daktronics paying Kawhi potentially legitimate somehow? Because they don't do celebrity endorsement deals. This is a company that does scoreboards.
So, what I can think of that comes to mind is it goes one of three ways in my head.
Okay.
One, it could be very real that the owner of Daktronics is a personal friend to someone somewhere in the NBA that's got the clout to make this sort of thing happen.
Yes.
But you normally don't get $100 million favors like that, even among high-level CEOs. So this screams to me as like a quid pro quo back scratch that we don't know the details of. There's got to be some reason why Daktronics is willing to shell out this money, as you said, for an NBA spokesperson that does nothing with their general field of interest, does nothing to increase their revenue. There's not even a goddamn commercial really with him. So
nope, not at all.
So to me, it has to mean that the owner got some sort of favor back that was worth $100 million. In more simpler terms, sometimes when a company doesn't want to pay you, rather than give you actual money, they'll give you stock options equivalent to the value of whatever compensation package you're looking for. This reads the same kind of deal.
All right. And on that note, Connor, just to follow up, does the fact that the deal allegedly makes little commercial sense actually make the NBA's case stronger, or is that still circumstantial?
I think it makes it a lot stronger. It's also when it comes to financial-based crimes, the logic of why a purchase would happen and how it happens is used heavily in court to explain a certain person's banking history. I also think that this company is not used to the level of scrutiny the FBI of all things is going to bring to bear when they investigate this. So
Ooh.
I could definitely see
Ooh.
a white collar company like Daktronics kind of like spilling the beans to save their own ass.
Wouldn't be surprised if they did, especially with the threat of the FBI coming in. They're like, "We'll tell you anything."
Yeah, just don't look at our tax books, please.
Zan, if you're the NBA, what do you actually have to prove here? Is it enough to show that the deal made little business sense, or do they have to establish an actual connection back to the Clippers?
This is just both sides being stupid, in my opinion. I feel like this entire thing is really sketchy. I I didn't know that we'd be talking about a scoreboard company having direct involvement with one of the NBA's biggest stars in a potential trade deal. This is just, I don't know, man.
Well, here we are.
Here we are.
All
We're
I know
talking
is
about
that
it.
all I know is that it's probably not going to end well for either party. And as much as Christie is probably hoping that the Clippers will get severely punished, I really don't think they will. I think it's probably going to be a massive fine and a couple of lost draft picks, and they're probably going to sweep it under the rug by the time it's all over.
Well, Nick has an idea right there.
Yeah, so Nick Morgeson commenting, saying that Ballmer needs to be suspended a year, Kawhi's contract needs to be voided, and he needs to be suspended for a year. Ballmer has connection to aspiration. I wouldn't be surprised if he had connected to Daktronics.
Aspiration.
No, I hear that, and I think the sponge aspiration.
I do feel like this is a tired story, you know?
Yeah.
When I think about the NBA and when I hear corruption, I think about just the last 3 years worth of NBA scandals, gambling scandals, coaching scandals. And the NBA every single time kind of just like sweeps it under the rug and goes, all right, next season, can you believe this trade? You know, oh my God, Luka got traded. Nobody look at the 3 coaches that were busted in a mafioso illegal gambling ring, and ignore the players that were also involved with throwing a game when they had debts. So it's like, to me, I feel like whatever's going to happen from this, like usual, it's just going to disappear, and the NBA is going to make no meaningful changes.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yep.
So, like, I guess my question then to you guys is, how much, is this about Kawhi himself?
I don't think it's
I
about
think he
Kawhi
has
at
something
all.
to do with it, especially if it's his uncle who's kind of negotiating some of this stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Kawhi. I think the last thing Kawhi wants to worry about is this, and the first thing he wants to worry about is hoops, man. I don't think he. If it were up to him, and he was trapped in a dark room, and somebody was interviewing him, and his life depended on it, he would say that he would say that he'd probably want this to be over so he could focus on basketball. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, I also want to take it back. I just said it has nothing to do with him. It does have a lot to do with him. He's currently in the hot seat. He broke a crime, but broke a law rather, not a crime. But I don't know. I think this is mostly to do with how NBA execs handle their business.
Yeah, though that's the thing. Like, who is really the center point of this? Is this Kawhi, or is this about Ballmer? I guess both, because Jeannie Buss basically call out his uncle and or agent, uncle agent, I guess would be the word. Basically, some of the stuff that he wanted, right? Exactly like what Nick Morgeson has on the comment there. That's exactly the point that I was going to go to next, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what do we think should be, not will be, should be, what happens for Kawhi and the punishment?
I think Kawhi needs
he's
Void his
probably gonna
contract,
be-
suspend him for a year.
Yeah, probably.
That may be the best thing for him. And probably if I were advising him, I said, look, you got to cut ties with your uncle because he's been proven to be nothing but trouble.
Now, that would be something interesting if he had to cut ties with his agent/uncle and
Who
try
knows,
if he.
Tom, maybe he cuts ties with him on his own, and maybe he's not forced to Uso. Maybe it's under his own volition. We have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, Zan, that reminds me though of the James Krause situation. Obviously, a much different situation, but if you remember, the UFC came down and said if you're associated with him after his little betting scandal, we're not gonna roster you.
Mm-hmm.
So that ultimately is what we think should happen. But it seems like you guys are all in agreement that eventually that this is just going to get swept under the rug.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
And that's sad because that's just how the NBA is, and it's
I know. And
unacceptable.
The last thing I wanted to say is, as long as the NBA can somehow, some way, turn a profit, that's going to be the bottom line at the end of the day. So.
True.
Unfortunately, yes, and it is all about. Oh, hold on. Is there a comment?
Yeah, there is.
Which is his uncle is not his agent, which is another wrinkle. That's interesting.
Yeah, I heard he was not his agent, more like business manager, financial advisor, somewhere along those lines.
Okay, I guess my point, but the uncle is getting himself involved in all of the negotiations.
Right, exactly.
It's basically, it's like any other person trying to take advantage of the fact that he has a talented, wealthy relative.
Wait, what'd you say, Chrissy? I'm sorry.
It sounds like it's like a lot of like you hear this stuff going on in Hollywood with kids or parents trying to take advantage of them. This Kawhi Leonard's uncle seems like the same type of person. Wants to take advantage of the fact he has a wealthy relative.
Interesting.
I mean,
I also, you asked like what should happen. In a perfect world, the NBA would have a tighter control over how these teams negotiate contracts. But in this brighter world, the NBA would be able to do it non-biasedly. Because if the NBA controlled how these contracts worked, you would see rampant contract and player abuse. So I almost feel like dealing with this is kind of the cost you incur for ensuring teams are able to compensate their players appropriately. It's ultimately I think Kawhi needs to sit for a season, but more importantly that he can't be the scapegoat. Like whoever actually greenlit this trade needs to be investigated by the FBI and the IRS as to why what did they exchange that would make Datatron pay Kawhi $100 million, or not $100 million, whatever the amount was.
I think the problem with the Kawhi factor is going back to his free agency when you're talking about the uncle approaching and talking about all these different, quite frankly, illegal and going against the CBA benefits that were requested. I think that's going to be a big issue with all of this.
I'd agree.
All right. So that's going to bring to an end a lot of this talk about Kawhi. Those are the trade deadline and Kawhi are basically our two big stories here. But looking at your weekend radar, there's a massive storm system brewing, and it's bringing a heavy downfall of sharp picks and cold, hard spreads. Forget the boring old-school pregame coverage. This isn't your granddaddy's regular talk show, NFL talk show. You need the ultimate weekend. You need the ultimate. Pardon me, guys. Sorry. You need the ultimate weekend outlook before you lay down a single dollar, and that means tuning into the football forecast on the Empty the Bench network. Lead meteorologist and football insider Johnny Montalbano and the entire ETB football crew break down every matchup on the board. From high-pressure defense to low-temperature upset alerts, they're delivering a 100% chance of high-value picks against the spread. Don't get caught in the rain on Sunday. Catch the football forecast every Friday during the NFL season at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Empty the Bench network. Get your forecast, track the lines, and weather the storm all weekend long. Only on the Empty the Bench network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB network. Guys, football season is quickly approaching. A lot of exciting stuff going on at the ETB network. There's going to be a lot of fun football stuff, from football forecast to football night on the bench, which Kirsty, you'll be joining me for every Thursday before Thursday night football. Plenty of good stuff coming along, and I have to mentally prepare myself to be hearing a lot of
How
this.
about them cowboys? How about them cowboys? How about them?
Oh no, I don't need that loop.
No, you don't need that on loop.
Jeez. So let's actually go on now, since we're talking about the NFL. Let's go talk about the NFL market that's been going on, all the different extensions that have been brought out. So training camp season has brought a tidal wave of mega extensions across the league, completely resetting positional market values. Young elite backs like Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and Jahmyr Gibbs have locked in high guarantee extensions, revitalizing the evaluation of elite dual threat backfield anchors. Zay Flowers also cashed in with Baltimore, further evaluating the modern wide receiver market as teams prioritize locking up homegrown talents before mandatory camp holdouts begin. Average annual values, AAV, for top-tier running back extensions have bounced back towards top-tier marks following years of market stagnation. The interesting thing about this extension cycle isn't simply how much money these players are getting. It's what their contracts say about how NFL teams are evaluating different positions: running backs, wide receivers, salary cap philosophy, and roster construction. So have we reset the receiver market too early? Is this a masterclass in preemptive cap management? Zan, I'll start with you. We spent years hearing that the running back market was dying. Are Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and this new wave of contracts actually changing the narrative? Or are these just expectations for elite players?
I think these are just the expectations. These guys are going to get paid lots and lots of money to do what they do best professionally, and that's just the new world we're living in. Guys are going to keep getting shipped for millions of dollars, and right now it's not about as much anymore as to who is getting paid. It's how many guys are getting paid and the volume of guys that are getting paid. And look at all the names you just listed off. One of them that I don't think you mentioned is, for example, now we have the highest paid guard in NFL history, Peter Skoronski, also, so you can add him to the list as well. You just never know on a year-to-year basis what these guys are going to get, and this is just another layer to it. And Tom, hopefully your screen is okay too.
Something I want to build off of that is, like, I'm a Lions fan, but more importantly, I'm a running backs fan, because running backs are one of the best ways to make a football parlay come true. And so I follow a lot of running backs closely, and with Jahmyr Gibbs, you have to give him whatever Bijan got. You had to give Jahmyr even more. Bijan is a generational running back, probably one of the best that Atlanta Falcons have ever received. However, or he will go on to be one of the best running backs Atlanta will ever receive. However, he's no Jahmyr Gibbs. So whatever Bijan had gotten, Jahmyr had to get way more. What did strike me as odd, but it was more indicative, I think, of just the wide receiver room within the Ravens, is Zay Flowers. His rookie year, I thought he was electric. I thought he was amazing. I was eating real well off of him getting touchdowns. He was going the fact that, like, not a lot of people had expectations for him. But last season, he did not play well. He wasn't making the catches he used to, and when he did, he had like a 30% chance of dropping it, which I thought was strange. The whole Ravens team at some point started to get butterfingers. Zay Flowers getting paid what he did when he didn't really show up last season strikes me less as, he's super talented, he deserves the money, which he is. But if it's results-based, I think he got that money more because the Ravens don't really have anyone else in that wide receiver room to be a wide receiver.
No, I mean, Zay Flowers is a good receiver. It's just this season just wasn't a good season for him. And yeah, Bijan Robertson gets a big contract, but then the Lions counter by giving Jahmyr Gibbs a big contract. Now, Jonathan Taylor, he just came back last season, did nicely, but
JT, I think the running. I think we're entering a phase where running backs are going to become far more prized. And the reason
they are.
for that is because a lot of teams are realizing, okay, say you have an intermittent O-line that can't really give the QB a good few pockets of seconds to make a decisive play. Or say your wide receivers just aren't really that great at breaking man coverage. Doing the Sonic and Knuckles strat on a running back is a great way to just slowly march your ass down the field and then pray for a pass interference.
Yeah,
a ton of teams were
exactly.
doing that last season, where they'd go bing bang, 1-2, 1-2. Oh, you're out of third and 8. Hard to get that first down. Okay, we're just gonna throw a bomb and hope we get pass interference. And 60% of the time they did.
They did. They really did.
All
Tom's
right.
back.
I'm going to be going back and forth with some stuff, guys, right now. So I apologize if I'm going in and out. Connor, from a value standpoint, which of these contracts do you think is most likely to age poorly?
Call me crazy. Even though I am in Zay Flowers' corner, I'd probably say Zay Flowers. And
why do you say that?
Well, I think Zay Flowers is a good QB. Not QB, sorry, good wide receiver. Blank there for a second.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be emotional. A lot of Ravens talent tends to be just that, emotional. Maybe it's the city, maybe it's the culture of the locker room. But, I won't go as far as say a prima donna, but I would not be surprised if he doesn't perform well. He doesn't have a series of crash outs next season. That's inevitably going to strain his ties with the team and the staff. On top of that, his progress in how well he does and how well that contract is viewed is inherently lined to two other positions on the field. The O-line, which their whole job is to give Lamar Jackson the time he needs to throw the ball and the time Zay Flowers needs to break down the field, and ultimately Lamar himself. If Lamar shows up and it proved that it wasn't the coach that was the problem, it was him that's the problem, then Zay Flowers is going to look like hot dog shit. So I think the most amount of pressure to do good and the most amount of chances for it to go wrong would be Zay Flowers.
Do you think teams are finally becoming more comfortable? Obviously, you're talking about Zay Flowers, but going over to the running back end now, do you think that these teams are finally becoming more comfortable paying running backs again, or are we still going to see the position treated differently from quarterback and receivers?
I think what you're going to see is a definite weight class appear where the average running back isn't going to make anything crazy. One running back that I think is dramatically underpaid, but that's because he signed the contract a little bit too early, was James Cook. James Cook, in my opinion, deserves to be in the same pay threshold as Bijan Robinson, as Jahmyr Gibbs. And so I think what you're going to see instead is 80% of the league's running backs are going to get paid what they're currently getting paid. Nothing crazy, nothing comparatively crazy to us, but comparatively to other positions, nothing that much. But the 5 running backs that could make or break a franchise, those guys are going to be getting paid crazy money. And I think that amount of money they could potentially make is only going to go up. Are all the running backs going to get access to that kind of contract? No. Are you going to see the generationals? For sure. Yeah, they're going to get star treatment.
So this is just, in other words, a matter of that Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jonathan Taylor are just. I guess we're in a interesting, in your word, generational era of some running backs.
Yep, and it just so happens to be happening at a time where the rule books are shifting and rush offenses are becoming more popular. The defensive structure across a lot of teams, as well as the defense and coaching, hasn't really caught up with the running back plays that have been performed recently. So, yeah, I would say so.
Christy, going back to you and going back to Zay Flowers for a minute. It feels like we're seeing teams lock up their own stars earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
Does that make the NFL more competitive, or does it make it harder for teams to build depth?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, you want to lock down your star players, but it is tough.
I think also to consider, by the way, with them locking them up early, is the teams are not taking on a lot of risk for injuries. So say you have the unfortunate circumstance of playing next to, I don't know, in the 49ers field where you're playing next to like an electro field, or you're playing on MetLife Stadium and half of your team gets injured by the end of the preseason. That team, by year 2 of constant injuries, are just going to be stuck with a bunch of players that are pretty banged up, not worth it anymore, and they've got no money because they're locked into these crazy contracts.
Do you think you ultimately see something. I mean, I guess we're not going to see something come to a head in the next CBA just simply because the NFL and the NFLPA seem to be better at handling some of money issues, market issues a lot better than what we see with the MLB, especially
Yeah.
in the current MLB.
And they've been making sure we haven't had a lockout, and I don't even know when the last one was, but they've made sure not to really have one because they really hammered out all the details.
I want to say, I was going to say 2011, but they got everything done before the season, and then the referees was 2012. Yeah, Zan.
Okay.
That's
Oh
what
yeah,
I was thinking.
that was the year we had the fail Mary.
Yeah, the fail freaking Mary.
Yes. Oh Lord.
I guess then my question is there, and this is open to anybody, who do we think is going to be the next young guy to get a big contract in the NFL, whether it be running back or another position?
I guess
George
I could
Pickens?
go first if no one. Oh well.
This is open to anybody, so if you have an idea,
I'm thinking about it right now. Immediately, my mind wants to say Carson Beck. And I have a reason for that. Not so much that he's going to be great, but for
why do you? Is it just is it the positional need?
It's the positional need. That's the factor number one. Factor number two, with the amount of years he spent in college, he is arguably the most experienced and NFL-ready QB to come into the market. The NFL has a real problem of taking QBs early when they need more development, they need more games under the belt. Looking at Anthony fucking Richardson, and they're not good, and everyone's shocked by it. Carson Beck, on the other hand, is one of the rare exclusions of that, where he has a plethora of college football experience, and thus most prepared for the NFL, I would say. He's going into a weak team with really weak futures. So in typical NFL fashion, if your team sucks, that puts you in a box to have to pay the people who are just above average or better than the rest of them a lot more money than they're actually worth. Otherwise, they're walking. So I think Carson Beck is going to come out with a contract much like that, especially considering they also only paid Jacoby Brissett a bridge QB salary. He's gone soon. So, you know, they really don't have any other options. I think I don't think Jeremiah Love is going to get there all that quickly. I think Cade Klubnik is another QB. I think the Jets got very lucky with getting him. He is, in my opinion, a really good QB. I think that guy's going to step up, show out, and he's going to get a bag.
That's interesting. It's funny to think, you know, using the words Jets and lucky in the same sentence. I don't think I think that's a very rare sentence a rare set of words to be put together.
I know the Jets fans have been like brutally beaten into this sort of cold submission that you only find with couples that long since have passed the threshold of where they should have gotten a divorce. And
oh my god.
But you have to consider this. You're Cade Klubnik, right? And you're going to a team with 7 first-round picks? I mean, I feel that's kind of lucky. You know, as long as the owner doesn't step foot inside the building when they're making these picks, they're going to be...
Keep them away.
They're going to be good. They're going to... I know a lot of people are giving them shit, but I think there's not many circumstances here, provided that they don't, you know, fuck this up.
Right.
They're going to be good.
I guess going to a point that you mentioned before, Connor, since it's a little bit of a breaking news story and we have some extra time in our hands, guys, what are your thoughts about, you know, the news of Anthony Richardson, that his time in Indianapolis is about to be no more?
I'm not surprised.
It's not surprising. It probably should have happened 2 years ago. I would argue maybe even a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe Anthony Richardson's about to become the new Justin Fields, where a team is mesmerized by his athleticism and thinks, no, you know, actually all these other teams just misunderstood him. We can bring the real talent out of him. Let's go get Anthony Richardson. And then they're just shit for a whole season. And everyone's like 3 games in wondering like, You got Anthony Richardson or you got Justin Fields. You got exactly what you thought you were gonna get. I'm gonna be one of those guys.
I mean, I guess I would make the remark that everyone was making about the idea of, oh, congratulations, you managed to, lose a quarterback competition to Daniel Jones. So you
Right.
should be behind, so you shouldn't be an NFL quarterback. The thing is, Danny Jones kind of showed last season that
He's good. He's good.
he is good. It's just a matter of a certain team here in New York who couldn't use him right.
Right.
Can I paint a really bleak picture for everyone here? Baker
Sure.
Mayfield leaves Tampa Bay. They can't come to a meeting of the minds. Tampa Bay, in their panic, realizes that their options are Geno Smith, Flacco, which honestly I would take Flacco.
Yeah, true.
Or Anthony Richardson. And
No.
I'm telling you right now, if that's the lay of the or Dylan Gabriel, they might be able to get Dylan Gabriel or JJ McCarthy. If that's the 5 picks they have to choose from, gun to your head, your team is on the line. Man, just give me the bullet. Don't let me see this team play. Just give me the bullet. I could not take Anthony Richardson. I could not take JJ McCarthy.
No.
I couldn't take Flacco because it'd be like watching your favorite granduncle at the party start to dance, and you're just terrified he's gonna roll an ankle and slip a hip.
Wow.
By the way, I think this was directed at me. I think this was directed at me.
What about the next one?
Oh, but the next one.
Yes!
No,
No, dear God, please no!
He can't. If he's gonna go anywhere, he's got to go somewhere for his career.
That's my answer, Nick.
There you go.
In your
Because of the
wildest
Jets, he's in
dreams.
friggin' purgatory.
In your
you better get
wildest
talent.
dreams, Nick. I'm sorry. Baker Mayfield should not be going to the Jets. Now, I think that is an interesting situation that Tampa Bay seems to be in full-on panic mode as of this point, considering whatever the hell is going on there between Baker Mayfield requesting a trade.
Baker requested a trade?
No, not Baker requesting a trade. What's his name? Defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was like, wait a minute. Baker Mayfield seems happy to be in Tampa.
No,
Like,
you're
he
thinking
found
of
his
the
home.
defensive tackle. I know who
Tia.
you're talking about. What is it? Bucks DT trade request. Yeah, Vita
Vita Vey.
Him.
Vita Vey.
That guy.
Between Vita Vey and now Baker Mayfield and management clashing, it seems to be a disaster brewing right now in Tampa Bay.
The window closed,
train
man.
wreck.
You had a chance to I'm a Lions fan I should say right now. I'm a Lions fan. If there's anyone who's more intimate about window closing, it's fucking me, guys. I'm telling you, the window for the Buccaneers has closed, and this is just a fallout. People are going to leave. The dream team crumbles. You lose Mike Evans. You're not getting Baker Mayfield. Vita V's leaving. It's contract bullshit starts to pop up. Like, this is the same sad recipe that we get every year when a window for a team is closed.
Right.
I do expect more departures personally. I do think the Bucks do have some amazing talent on their team. Like, they have a third stringer called Sean Tucker, who was really great. I think they have a way out of this. They just got to be able to play ball with Baker.
Yep.
Another
Yes.
Todd Bowles roller coaster. Thank you, Chrissy. Another
He's
Todd Bowles.
going off the tracks. I agree.
All right. We're going into the second hour now, so we're going to get into a little bit now of the WNBA controversy, which I think is a sentence that has been stated on a number of programs here on the ETB network within the last, month.
Yeah.
And it's like name your pick of controversy as well on that.
You cut out there for me for a second. I apologize. Could you repeat that?
I said, but now it's like, oh, just name whatever controversy. It's like, have your
yeah.
pick.
Yeah, no. The one that I'm really curious about, me personally, is I'm really curious to see how a lot of it's less of a controversy and more of just like I want to see what happens with Brandon Ayuk. I know he's most definitely retired, but like I want to see what the 49ers legal department is going to do about his contract. I know that if he signed anywhere, the 49ers would put a request in to be compensated a portion of that contract for their loss,
Yeah.
Guarantees, but and the signing bonus, but just because he's done with the NFL does not mean the NFL is going to be done with him.
Oh, I
This many days, 0.
0 days. All right. Here's the whole controversy now. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham addressed reporters regarding external rallies and protests accompanying team games following her controversial public remarks on transgender athletes in women's sports. Cunningham insisted the outside noise is, quote, not a distraction for her or her teammates as rallies continue outside arenas. Indiana's games continue to shatter attendance and broadcast ratings records across national television platforms. And this story just sits at the intersection of player expression, league politics, media attention, and team dynamics, which makes it considerably more complicated than simply asking whether Cunningham was right or wrong. So, Christy, I'm going to start with you because you have talked about, I think you left a comment on Cranium, that you have been a fan of the WNBA basically since its inception. So you've seen a lot of highs and a lot of lows with this league. You've seen everything with this league. Mm-hmm. How do you think the WNBA should handle a player who becomes bigger than the controversy surrounding her, like what we're seeing now potentially with Sophie, and we've seen previously with Caitlin Clark? Do you think leagues should try to stay completely out of these controversies, or does leadership have a responsibility to address them?
I think they do have a responsibility to address them. But I don't honestly think it's going to stop people like Sophie Cunningham from expressing what is to her and what she thinks and how she feels about whatever the topic is. And what happened to her in Chicago yesterday, which I'm sure we'll get into. The only thing I'm going to say about that, because I do have a much stronger opinion on it, is that infuriated me.
Zan, you are from Chicago. What are your thoughts as to what has happened to Sophie Cunningham?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not one side or the other. I don't really have an opinion in regards to both fan bases, but they have clearly driven the bus in terms of controversy, if you will. You could say whatever you want about Sophie Cunningham, whatever you want about the WNBA. I think the fact of the matter is that the people who follow the WNBA religiously are really, really frustrated. The people who are interested in this due to the hype factor are getting what they want. And the people who just want to care about basketball feel like that's being disrupted. So I think on all three fronts, you're going to have problems. And I think yesterday's game, while physical and controversial, between the Sky and the Fever was the perfect example of that.
Yeah, it was.
On that note, Sam, can a league simultaneously protect free expression and protect its players from becoming the target of organized protests?
I think they can, but to be honest, I'm just going to say it. I think the way the WNBA is handling this is completely just not right. And I don't know the exact definition or the exact way they could fix it, but it certainly isn't the way that you would think a league would do something like that. They've tried. It's not to say that they haven't, but I almost feel like from a media standpoint, and I'm someone who has no coverage ties to any of these teams, it almost feels like the leagues aren't realizing that not only do the players have a job to do, not only do the comms people have a job to do, but the media also has a job to do to cover this as fairly and as accurately as possible to not get stirred into the full-on narrative, and I don't think you're fully seeing that. So
I was gonna ask, is there a specific example of a media outlet you don't think is covering it fairly?
Well, I just think overall, like I can give you an example. Like there was that whole controversy a week ago with Outkick and the Minnesota Lynx. There was the other example. I think it was the Sparks coach that got into it with a media member over the way that a
Mhm.
question was asked. Obviously, you had Stephanie White say her comments on the Carrington thing yesterday. I think there's multiple examples of it. Almost like where there's leashes in some examples, and then there's other examples to where the coach says how they feel, and that's that, and there's no issues whatsoever. So it's
Yeah.
almost like, what are we trying to police here? Is it about basketball, or is it about other ideals? And I don't think you have a definitive answer at this point.
Connor, from a business perspective, how do you think the league should weigh controversy against the fact that the controversy can also drive attention and viewership?
Well, yeah, it's typical Jerry Jones mentality, and he just being on the news at all is
Wait, Connor, did you just say Jerry Jones?
Oh
Jerry
no!
Jones.
Oh, God
How
damn
about
it!
that cowboy?
It's like the whole mindset of like being in the news for any reason at all is good news, right? But
It's the publicity argument. Any publicity
Yeah.
is good publicity.
yeah,
Exactly.
but I think that's just not the case, really. You know, if that were the case, then the Raiders or would always be popular, since there's always some shit going down with a Raiders player. But I think more importantly, it's a very difficult issue because this is a social issue that is affecting a sports issue that has business issue ramifications. So it's not like this is a business problem creating business issues. When it's a business problem creating business issues, it's very simple. You apply a business solution. If it's a sports issue causing business issues, then you amend a rule or make a policy change, and then business goes back to normal. If it's a sports issue affecting a sports issue, like I said, they'll change the rule book with the sport. But if it's a social issue causing all of these other two, what solution do you put into it that's going to like satisfy all parties? It's difficult, you know. And you can't, as a team, come out in front of your players and say, keep your mouth shut about all this, because as players, they're subject to a voice. They are a portion of the league.
And I would argue that the WNBA and its players are some of the biggest advocates on social and political issues, even more so than some you see in the Big Four.
Yeah.
That's true.
It
So-
can be to their detriment, though.
Well, Christy, that was going to be my question, because is the controversy, like, I can ask if the controversy is ultimately helping the WNBA's growth or hurting it, or I'm going to add one more in there, because we're seeing how more mainstream the WNBA has become. We're seeing the new stars that have come in over the last several years that have brought more audiences to the game, whether it be your Sabrina Ionescu's, your Caitlin Clark's, your Angel Reese's, your Sophie Cunningham's. You know,
Angel
is
Wilson.
this... AJ Wilson, is this just simple? I guess my thing is not just a matter of helping or hurting WNBA's growth, but also, is it just simply a reality of the league becoming more mainstream?
Could be a reality of the league becoming more mainstream, but I think like, some of these players who I don't know. It just feels like it's just not very open mind. I'm losing my train of thought here, but I think a certain someone has something to say about that. Yeah, Kathy Engelbert doesn't care about anyone's feelings. She only cares about money. And if that means that her league is volcanic eruptions, so be it. Carrington going on social media during the game was insane.
I mean, look, I basically talked when the topic came up on MTGP. I just spent that whole time blasting Kathy Engelbert. I think it goes back. It goes back to what I mentioned when we were in the chat with Cranium, Christy.
Mhm.
You know, when you have players talk about you don't have a relationship with them, when every media story is something bad about the WNBA, and
Yep.
people are, and players, media, fans are all calling you out, I question whether you have what it takes to be a commissioner of a league.
And I mean, I know Nick Morgeson has said it, Callan has said it, and I personally don't think Kathy Engelbert is a good commissioner. In fact, I think she's a sucky commissioner. Letting DeJounte, I hope I got her first name right, Carrington, clothesline Sophie Cunningham. And what I'm going to say about that, I'm sure this is going to get clipped. Miss Carrington, if you want to pull shit like that, there's a company called World Wrestling Entertainment. Why don't you give up basketball head over there?
Oh, God.
Get off the court, lady.
I mentioned this too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. You wanted to say something, Zane?
Oh no, I was just saying that was one of the most classless things I've ever seen in any sport.
Yeah.
That was complete and utter just nonsense. How does that? I just don't understand. If you wanna do that, they could go and do that somewhere else, not on an organized basketball court where people paid to see one thing and they're seeing something else that was not warranted. Trying to put a miniature octagon in the moment of that situation.
Well, I mean, she left her feet. In all seriousness, like Sophie was saying, that's like a WWE style jumping clothesline that she delivered.
Yes, it was. And poor Sophie, if you see, she had blood on her tooth because Carrington hit her hard enough. She was bleeding.
I mean, we've talked about, Kathy Engelbert and WNBA not protecting its stars, but this is just a whole other level.
Not protecting Sophie or Caitlin Clark.
This is the two things that get to me. Either yes, it's classless, yes, it's talentless. It's almost as bad as Wemby stomping on people's knees in like the NBA Finals, or him putting his foot down when Jalen Hurts was landing. Not Jalen Hurts. Oh my God, Jalen Brunson.
Brunson.
Yeah,
you got them mixed up a little bit.
Yeah,
Oops.
It reminds me of that song. There's too many Jalens in the NBA. There are too many Jalens in the NBA. I got him confused with a Jalen from a totally different sport.
Oh, there you go. That's all right.
No, but it tells me that, like, I said this before. I think the current commissioner is suffering from this case where they were commissioner. They got hired when the NBA or the WNBA wasn't as relevant, and now it's had this meteoric rise. And with this rise comes a greater scrutiny of how good of a job you're doing. And they're just not good enough to be one. This is proving to be true. However, you don't need to be well liked by your players and by the coaches to be a good commissioner. You just have to run the ship properly.
But Connor, I think the problem is she hasn't done a good job doing that.
No, she hasn't.
Yeah, she hasn't. I'm not making any defenses towards her being a good one. I'm just saying that if anyone were to come step in further, being liked by the people of your league is not a prerequisite of being a good commissioner.
Right.
It just so happens that
Fair
she's
enough.
unliked and she isn't good.
Yeah, I mean, she could be respectful, but she hasn't earned any respect from anybody. I don't know. Say we have no relationship with her. Like Aja Wilson said one time, I don't really see Kathy Engelbert unless I'm getting an award.
That's the quote that sparked it within me, Chrissy. That talking point was that was the quote that really made me realize it. Like, oh God, yeah, there really is nothing here.
Oh yeah.
Guys, how much longer does and refs have rabbit ears getting technical? Caitlin Clark.
This was also from yesterday's game. I watched it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Okay.
But I guess that's a point I should have brought up sooner. How do we feel about that news piece that the foul was quickly rescinded by the WNBA?
I mean, they had to because and I was watching the game at home. It looked like Caitlin Clark didn't even graze this official because she was so off balance trying to make sure the ball didn't go out of bounds. And she still got hit with a technical, but realizing that like where people are gonna piss and moan and overanalyze the crap out of that situation, I think the decision they had to rescind it. I don't think the league had excuse me. I don't think the league had any other choice.
But of course, people are going to use that to say, "Oh, typical Caitlin Clark, like getting special treatment," right?
Yeah, that's what they're going to say. But
it's always going to be one thing or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel bad for Caitlin Clark because she's never given the fair opportunity.
No, never given the benefit of the doubt.
It's always she's getting betterment and treatment or that the WA is defending her, that the WNBA is not defending her enough.
I mean, I've seen tweets where people are they see clips of that something like that, and they just call her names and whine and complain, like, "Oh my God, she's getting special treatment." Like, are you not watching this? What's going on?
Yeah, it's actually frustrating. How much longer do you think Kathy Engelbert stays in power, guys? Because I can't see it being for much longer.
I think she's done after this season.
It's not even that. It's also just a matter of that. If the WNBA wants to continue to grow, I don't think she can be commissioner for much
I don't
longer.
think so.
I just, I think the bigger fish to fry is not so much her, but the current social issues going on with the sport.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who's at the helm, someone's got to come forward and like make a decision regarding it. Otherwise, every game, every season, it's gonna come up.
Okay, who here wants to do that?
What?
What
Who here
happened?
wants to make that decision?
Well,
I don't. Well, I was gonna say, like, what plan do you put in place? Is the question.
That's a good question.
I don't know if I. What'd you say, Connor?
I think ultimately it comes out to, and this is something nobody wants to get clipped saying, but I think ultimately it comes out to either teams come forward and say, yes, we recognize you as a woman, but we as a sports agency feel that you have a biological advantage or what have you. You can't play in this league. That's going to open up a massive can of worms that will dog them at every step. On the flip side, say they do say, all right, you guys are more than welcome to join the league, not a problem, and they move on, and then players and coaches themselves feel differently, feel as if, no, there is a biological advantage or what have you. It's still going to cause a massive issue. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. What I've seen a lot of sports agencies do over the years when faced with societal issues is keep their head down, don't make any great decision that shows support one way or the other, be ambiguous, pledge support to some social cause to show that you care tangentially about the topic, and then pray it goes away. That's what a lot of sports agencies have done in the past regarding social issues.
A couple of comments here from Nick. Nafisa Collier said, Players Association Commissioner's Office relationship is the worst in professional sports.
I believe it.
And then Kathy Engelbert's contract is up at the end of this season. Yeah, it's got to be after this season then.
It has to be. She can't do it.
All right, going on now quickly to a little update about Tony Romo. So following former Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo's OWI arrest in Milwaukee County, CBS is moving forward with J.J. Watt alongside Jim Nantz on the lead broadcast crew as legal proceedings and contractual morals clauses play out. This isn't just about one broadcaster being temporarily replaced. CBS has to decide whether this is an emergency fill-in or the beginning of a completely different direction for its number one booth. So, on this note, Connor, I'll start with you with this one. If you're CBS, how much of this is about protecting the brand versus simply finding the best football analyst? And is the NFL broadcasting market getting so competitive that networks can afford to move on from even a name as big as Romo?
Well, I mean, okay, so I guess my opinion is a little bit multifaceted, so it's hard to break down. But first and foremost, I think him getting charged with operating while under the influence instead of a DWI, the motherfucker was not in a John Deere tractor or one of those riding motorcycles, or riding lawnmowers.
But it's
He's like, he's in a fucking car. Just call it drunk driving. They fucking hit my boy Tiger Woods with drunk driving. Like get him. I feel that the fact that he got charged with what he did and it's being handled the way that it is showing the NFL's influence. They stepped in. They helped soften the blow. They helped him out. But the cost of this is, hey man, with it being softened as it is, you're still it. You gotta go. It's all about optics. And I think also they fired a lot of other analysts to pay Pat McAfee. So there's, I would say that there's a practice being established where certain analysts are going to get paid buco bucks, and the rest of them really aren't. I've also seen a lot of the NFL's talk side of it shift not from analyst standpoints, but to podcasters. You know, some of the most popular NFL talk show consuming content right now is not the analyst shows. It's not Shannon Sharp breaking things down behind a desk. It's Shannon Sharp shooting the shit with Ocho Cinco on a fucking Zoom call or something like that. So I also could see the NFL repurposing their funds in general, saying, look, listen, why are we paying you this money when we can get 2 former athletes to sit on a fucking leather sofa somewhere inside and pre-record these?
I mean, that's something that I've talked about on the ESPN side of things, is that with them getting all of their content and making their cuts, like I remember talking a while ago, I think it was me and Nick Morgeson, and we were talking to AJ Perez from Front Office Sports, and I had made some sort of comment about, like, with ESPN, it's like, as long as they get the sports content, they're fine throwing anybody behind that desk, especially if it's a former player.
Yeah, 100%. I think also to put a better spin on it is ESPN's owned by Disney. Disney can't afford to have someone drunk driving be part of their program. Shit don't work out.
It's the image.
Yep.
It is. It's all. It's what matters.
So on that note, Zan, if CBS ultimately moves on from Romo, who should they pair with Nance long term? Do you think J.J. Watt's going to be that person?
I probably do, yeah. I think he's going to do great if that ends up being the long-term pairing. And just a note on Romo, he made some really dumb decisions. Yeah, his playing career is over, but the surveillance video is forever, and he's never going to let that be ignored for the rest of his life, and that's the sad part. And the excuses he made, the ways he tried to get out of that thing, it was completely bad news. Situation could have totally been avoided, and I mean, you guys may not know this, but to get an OWI in Wisconsin, which is what he got, is a very difficult thing to do, and somehow he got it. So,
well,
yeah.
I thought it was about the language of the law.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, I'll point out here in Montana where I live, OWI, it's DUI here. Usually depends on what state you live in. They do it differently.
I think Zane's point was less so about the language and more so about the culture Wisconsin is. Dude,
Right.
you're finding
Correct,
dudes
exactly.
drunk on the
Yep.
road all the fucking time.
That's my overall point. Yep.
It's like you get something like an OWI, and your first offense is a literal slap on the wrist.
Brother, I've been to Wisconsin. You got a tall boy in the center console, officer. That's a road soda. Like, what are we doing? You know, I mean, like,
Oh, God.
Road soda.
That's
Oh
the
my
first.
God.
He's not kidding. He's not kidding at all.
Oh my
there's
god.
a reason why they call it Wisconsin sober.
Fair
That's
enough.
the first time I've heard that.
Wisconsin
sober.
Wisconsin sober is like when you're like
Wisconsin sober.
when you go to a bar, but you're not drinking any liquor. You're drinking just beers.
Oh, just beers. Ah.
Beer. Jeez.
And as somebody who enjoys beer, it's like that's offensive. You go, nah, just beer. If I could, Christy, I would play that a soundbite of that Stone Cold thing. 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers.
What?
I know this sounds dumb. And I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but I feel like if you get arrested for drinking while driving, the media is obligated to post what you were drinking. Like, if I find out that you were drinking an Edwards 40 hands, I'm not sending you to prison. I'm not charging you. I'm sending you to therapy. If I find out you're drinking a Steel Reserve Tall Boy, I'm not giving you a ticket. I'm letting you go to your construction job. You know, it's like what they're drinking matters. Okay, that's all I have to say.
I'd like to know what was in that open container of alcohol they found in Romo's vehicle. What was it? Was it like Jack Daniels, Jim Beam? What the heck did he have in there?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
Christy,
Oh well.
on the note that I was going to before, do you think former players are becoming too dominant in NFL broadcasting?
It's starting to look that it is starting to look that way, and I hope with JJ Watt he doesn't become that type of individual. And him in the booth, I hope he's able to click with Jim Nantz and they can work really well together. But the analysts are becoming a little bit more dominant than they used to be before in the past.
Is Winston doing a talk show this season, or is he still playing?
Jameis Winston?
He's still playing. Russell Wilson went to the CBS booth.
Yeah, he went to the NFL today.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I say Russell Wilson?
Oh, no.
I feel bad because I feel like that's the only guy I can think of in recent memory that played.
Giants country, let's ride.
I feel like he played himself out of a Hall of Fame ballot. If he
probably
cut his
did.
career off a few years earlier, he'd probably be a Hall of Famer. But after what we've seen in the recent years, probably not.
I mean, he'll probably end up in the Seahawks Ring of Honor because he did bring them their first Super Bowl. So
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
at least guaranteed that. Pro Football Hall of Fame, I don't know.
In my opinion, as much as I want to say yes, if Eli can't get in because of 2 Super Bowls, beating the Patriots, one of them undefeated, I don't think Russell Wilson can go in.
Eli Manning not being in the Hall of Fame is a crime.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it should he or he shouldn't. I'm saying if Eli's not in, I can't give Russell Wilson.
No,
the rub.
I get it. I was
true.
saying I don't think so about it being a crime. You know, like Eli's greatest claim to fame is he beat that one dude that everyone couldn't beat. So I mean, like,
He was one of 2 guys who could beat Tom Brady. The other was Nick Foles. Yeah.
Chrissy, on that note, actually, you know what? I'll post this one to everybody else.
Okay.
To everybody, pardon me. Who would you rather listen to break down a game? An elite former player or somebody else? Actually, let me change it. An elite former player or an elite traditional broadcaster?
Wait, what was the beginning part of the question? I'm sorry.
Who would you rather listen to break down a game? An elite former player or an elite traditional broadcaster?
Oh, a former player, because they played one of the primary positions in the sport. I feel like it's sort of a bit of an open-ended question because I feel like the pairing is what matters, not as much the individuality. Because play-by-play and color are 2 different roles. So, obviously, a player is going to have a different perspective than a traditional broadcaster that's called 6 different sports or whatever it is in their career. So,
I guess on that note, guys, if you could name a dream pairing that you would like to see, who would you like to see in an NFL broadcast booth together?
Well, I kind of already have one with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on ESPN on Monday Night Football because they just have a great camaraderie and they work so incredibly well together. But other than that, I really can't honestly think of anyone else.
You know what? This is gonna sound super non-conventional, but I feel like you know how there's some garbage games where like nobody's really watching them, they're on a bad time slot. I think for those games, they should do a lottery system and get a fan in the stands to sit in the booth to help do the game, provided he signs a contract. They sign a contract saying they're not going to use any of the FCC no-no words. And if he does, it's his bill he's got to pick up. I would love to see a Bengals fan beat the effects of Zoloft in real time on live air and show us just how depressed he's in a state of being. Maybe
I don't think that would ever happen. I think it's
Probably
risky.
not.
No, it wouldn't. But in my head, I think the NFL could be a lot more fun than they're being right now, and they just need to have the bravery to do what's right.
Yep.
The NFL is the no fun league. I think it's going to remain that way for a while.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, Connor, didn't somebody in the Phillies? Wasn't there a Phillies fan who just did a broadcast for like half an inning and they knocked it out of the park?
That was
I
interesting.
did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, there was wasn't he a teacher? A teacher who won some sort of contest to call half an inning, and they did an amazing job.
You know who I think would be a great announcer? Christy, you'll probably know this. Do you remember that one Boston guy where he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? This team ain't gonna win a fucking thing." Like that guy. They need to
That
make
guy.
that guy.
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the worst fucking team I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no. You know who I know technically he does it on his own stream, on his own brand, but you know
Yes.
what? That made me realize who should call a game.
I feel like
Frank the
I feel
Tank.
like the FCC would be sitting there with like their fucking mobile like card swiper where they're just waiting. Like, is that gonna be a card?
Tom,
Are
how
you
do
gonna-
you feel? Tom, would you like a dream scenario where Barstool Big Cat calls a Wisconsin game?
Oh god,
Uh-oh.
that's trouble. I feel like that spells
With
trouble.
how much he loves his alma mater. I mean, I'm just saying.
I know it. To the question you asked. Now I want to preface this. I do not know what were in the emails. I just know his name was not on the files.
Oh,
James.
Oh, no.
John Gruden. My boy John Gruden. I don't know what was in those emails. I know he wasn't on any big files. He did not show up in the Hillary documents. We should put John Gruden back in the booth.
No way!
Whoa.
You're never gonna
Why?
do that. There's no way.
I'm saying
Why?
this. I'm saying this knowing, like, I've never read the emails. I don't know what he actually said that he got for. I just know he said some really not nice things. But I think John Gruden, like, just in a vacuum, I think putting him back in the booth might you get some.
Wow.
Get
Oh
some
my
good.
God.
Spider.
Now that
so
I did commit myself to this opinion, I'm gonna get clip farm for this. What did he actually say in the emails?
Oh,
I know what I signed my ass up to.
Connor,
This
Connor,
is the
I'm
worst
just
crap
gonna-
you've ever heard in your life.
Connor, I'm just gonna welcome you to viral infamy because that's what you're about to.
Cool.
You're
Cool,
about to
okay.
become a viral superstar.
I don't think in a good way.
I'm gonna have to rebrand my online personality from degenerate gambler to like manosphere to bounce back from this.
Oh god. Now I know what your new social media handle is gonna be. Your new social media handle is gonna be Spider2i Banana all day. Anyways,
Yes.
let's talk a little bit of sports business. So
Oh shoot,
three
Tom,
stories.
we have 316 people in here watching this.
Oh wow!
What?
Wow, they all heard that. Yeah, that's great.
What?
What?
What? I had a beer. What?
2 beers. What? 3 beers. What?
What?
Uh,
We're gonna roll with
All
the
right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff here.
let's see. We got 3 stories in one, people. We got FIFA backtracking. We got Yankees Poly Market, and we got Live Golf. Choices. You know what? I'm gonna be biased and go with my hometown. Let's go with the Yankees and Poly Market. The New York Yankees officially announced a historic partnership, making Poly Market the team's official prediction market partner, featuring home plate signage and stadium branding. Poly Market's deal with the Yankees marks one of the first prediction market sponsorships integrated into a major U.S. professional sports venue. Connor, as the host of Unnecessary Wagers, is this the beginning of prediction markets becoming as, I don't know if visible is the right word, but ultimately maybe even taking over the idea of the traditional sports book?
No, I mean it'll suck up money from chums, but it's not gonna become the place where people gamble to make money. A lot of these.
It's also going to
prediction-
suck up money from people that are casuals and don't really follow sports and know that all they have to do is just open an app because they saw a Poly Market ad on Instagram and they
Yep.
think it's like the end all be all.
And they also, like, the other issue is that a lot of these prediction markets end up getting fucking brought to court with lawsuits of them fabricating wins and fabricating users to, like, generate revenue.
Tom, that's
So-
exactly what happened with the UFC situation.
I
Now
was just
that
about
entire-
to bring them up.
Now that entire account is branded as fan UFC Polymarket instead of the original account.
I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me with this. What is so appealing about like Polymarket and Kalshi? Why are people going over there instead of?
It's because of the things that you can bet on. It's like you could in Polymarket and Kalshi, you could bet the amount of times Donald J. Trump said "great" in the speech. Like it got done. Shit,
You can bet
one
what the
soldier.
weather is going to be every single day forever.
You can bet on what are the possibilities Cardi B shows up at the Super Bowl halftime show dancing.
So in other words, this is what everything that I would have joked about with sports betting on this network come to reality. That literally anything can be bet on.
Yes, but
Pretty
their
much,
whole
yeah.
thing is they started out in the non-sports market area. They started out literally in just general life. Like I recall that one story of one of the soldiers that was in charge of assisting planning the military operation in Venezuela. They made a Kalshi bet, like literally 2 days before the operation was greenlit, and they made like close to like $80,000. And then later got investigated by the DOD and the DOJ, and he got stripped of command. So, like...
I think I remember the military has very strict rules about that sort of thing.
Yeah, apparently you're not allowed
They
to make
do.
a parlay about storming a government. Who would have thought,
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
sorry, I thought this was America. I thought...
Like, let's bet. Let's see. What's the bet you can get Nicolas Maduro out of office alive?
Plus 500 underdog? No, but
God.
the thing is that, like...
Insanity.
I think that this isn't indicative of any great push. Personally, I feel like it's just the Yankees making a favorable deal, a business deal. I know that DraftKings and FanDuel aren't going anywhere. Like, what's eventually going to happen in the next,
No, I don't think
I
so
would say,
either.
10 to 20 years is if you want to talk about big sports betting news, there will probably be a point where FanDuel and DraftKings may actually merge into one unified app. If that did happen, the entire sports gambling industry would be forever cornered.
Oh yeah, and then in 10 to 20 years, you're gonna see. It's already happening now, but I think in 10 to 20 years, you're gonna see a 24/7 all sports betting syndicated stream, and that's literally all it's gonna. It's literally all it's gonna be. It'll be like watching the stock market, but for sports. Is what it'll be. Essentially.
Talk about massive oversaturation, though.
Exactly.
Well, gambling has become too accessible.
It
Like,
is.
I always
Way
It
too
give
has.
people,
accessible.
I give people this like saying all the time. I know I make a good chunk of change gambling, but I also know that like my best week at one point I made like $7,000 in a week, and I ended up losing like 2,800 of it on a Sunday because I was just throwing like $400 there, $300 there, and the thing that they don't tell you is that every day that you bet on a sport, I want you to picture yourself at like a blackjack table. No sane person, after going on a nice heater or going on a streak, is going to sit at a blackjack table for 7 days. But if you put it on a phone where it's always in reach of them, always in access to them, you will get gambling users that will literally gamble for a week straight. It's just how the ease of access works. When I think about RainBet of all things taking over the Twitch market, that was like hugely indicative of how this attention economy is going.
And of course, Nick Morganson has to throw it in there.
Screw you, Novik.
Connor, has he?
He did tell me about it. He told me about how you have to call it a play.
Yes.
Did he also tell you about what was it that New York suddenly became illegal overnight and they gave no warning?
Yeah.
Novig?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I'll have to send you the stream that Nick and Callan did immediately, or not immediately, but like 12 hours later after that, because
12 hours later.
They just emailed me trying to get us back.
No, no. Just don't accept the offer. It's not worth it anymore.
Well, what is the offer?
don't know.
I'm not saying say it on here, Nick. You can DM me this,
No.
but it's like I don't have the clip of Eustace Baggs, but I was like, what's your offer? Well, speaking of offers, well, let's go to FIFA for next, because FIFA President Gianni Infantino officially apologized and scrapped plans to sell off World Cup commercial and broadcast rights after intense backlash from international federations and fan groups. At one point, I think it was UEFA, all the European nations, said that they were going to pull out of future World Cups if this went through. Yes, it got that bad.
What's the ruling?
So they tried to sell off broadcasting rights and commercial rights and sponsorships for some of these World Cup rounds, and
Sell them to who?
No, the answer is
Like
no.
just companies in
answer.
general, or yeah, okay.
How about no?
That was one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the World Cup. There was no fucking commercials. It was such a rare treat watching us. Well, I should say no commercials. But it was such a rare.
What about the hydration break?
You know, I was just glad that I wasn't getting inundated with like consumerism AI slop. So many commercials nowadays are done by AI. It's appalling. Like, if you're gonna force feed me your ads product, you couldn't use the minimal amount of creativity to at least come up with like a 30-second concept to do it.
So, Connor, here's the full story. President Gianni Infantino attempted to sell a 20% stake in future World Cup commercial and broadcast rights to private equity investors. FIFA proposed creating a commercial subsidiary called FIFA Forward Enterprise to run events like the World Cup. The plan aimed to raise billions by selling a minority stake to private investors, including a firm backed by Joshua Kushner. Critics argued the move was commercializing the soul of the game and mortgaging football's future.
Yeah, I'd agree. That seems like a cash grab.
Right, and I mean, on serious note, I joke about the hydration break, but that faced a lot of criticism, the idea of trying to bring more commercials into the World Cup when it was here in America.
I also think that's a large portion why. It was here in America, and America is where everything is capitalized, and and there wasn't that capitalization. I think they had a historic success in showing the World Cup to American audiences. I don't know the numbers, but I'm willing to bet that the watch percentage for this World Cup was a lot higher than years past. There's no way in hell that FIFA isn't making mountains of money. I don't understand why they need to make mountains more.
I had to get that in there.
I do agree with most of the complaints. This seems like a stupid move.
Welcome to the Capitalism Cup.
Yeah, right? World Cup, welcome to America, where we get to give you ranch, barbecue, and we're putting a price tag on everything.
And you get to drink all the beer in one of the host cities. So go right ahead.
It was the most watched World Cup final in U.S. history, and the U.S. was in
Wow.
So, actually, I'm going to go to Christy for this one, simply because... No, Christy, it's because there's a certain industry that has also been going through its own controversies about being too commercialized. I wonder what industry and what specific promotion in that industry I might be referring to.
Right.
What happened?
Are we talking about WWE?
Yeah, so wrestling has essentially turned its entire product into a commercial entertainment machine.
What the fuck?
You get Slim Jim advertised on the tables used in matches. You get or on ladders. It's so freaking. I mean, and even like other brands being promoted on the ring mat. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Remember when it was just gonna?
Yeah, I was gonna say other brands being promoted. Welcome to the UFC canvas.
Yeah, well, the UFC. Yeah, but this is in the squared circle in WWE.
Yeah.
They're doing that same
I mean,
type of
Chrissy,
advertising thing they do with UFC.
Christy, remember the freak out when Prime was the first one to be there?
Yeah.
And they were like, it's just gonna be Prime, and that's gonna be it. And no, everything else came along.
Lie. They lied.
Connor, what was with the WTF?
Sorry, I was just looking at my feed and I missed this 7 hours ago. Adam Schefter just reported that the Lions are signing veteran QB Josh Dobbs to a 1-year deal.
Yeah, because Teddy Bridgewater is leaving football for now.
Yeah, I know, but Josh Dobbs, really? That was what you go and pick up?
I mean, it's not like there's much else out there right now, Connor.
You're right.
What? Listen, I'm gonna just say this right now. I know no one really remembers this guy, but the Lions had a QB Henderson Hooker, 6'4".
Oh, I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah, I remember him.
Dude, I had so
Barely.
much love for Henderson Hooker. Man, you could not find me anywhere else on those preseason games but watching Henderson Hooker. Fucking to get him back. He was athletic. He was good. You go for Josh Dobbs? Are you kidding me? Go get your guy back.
I mean, I think Josh Dobbs did an okay job what he could last season when he was thrusted into a role so unexpectedly. I guess, Christy, going back to what I was talking about before, is there anything that FIFA could learn from how wrestling, in good ways and in bad, WWE balances sponsorship and the actual event?
Well, they don't do so much, but
Well, that's why I said. Well, that's why I coughed at WWE when I mentioned the bad.
oh shit. Well, I don't know, but they got to be careful because not everyone is there to watch commercials advertising things like Labatt's beer or McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or anything like that. They're there to watch the game on the field, not hear ba-da-da-da-da. They don't want that.
Well, like Connor said, there's just something nice about the way that soccer or football is played and the matches go, and there's not much with the commercials at all.
Right. Exactly.
And I think if we add more and more commercials to this kind of sporting event, people are going to be saying, ba-da-ba-ba-da, I'm hating it.
Yeah, exactly. They would. They'd be like, where's my remote control? Oh, here we go. Click.
Click.
Change the channel or turn off the TV.
And now we're going to go from Click to Live, L-I-V golf, and the lifeboat that it got. So CEO Scott O'Neill has announced LIV Golf has secured a major new lead investor to keep the tour alive through 2027 and beyond, pivoting to a 10-event global schedule after Saudi Arabia's public interest fund pulled direct backing. LIV's 2027 plan slashes the calendar from 14 events down to 10 player-owned franchise events. Zan, as we are in an industry, and I guess, Christy, you go along with this because the wrestling, but combat sports dealing with its dealings with Saudi Arabia as well. What ultimately matters more in a sports league, the money behind it or the strength of the product? And has LIV done anything, even when it had the Saudi funding like it was, to show itself as the premium product it hyped itself up to be?
Oh, this is a money deal for sure. I mean, you just said it yourself. They're totally changing the format. They're changing the schedule. They want as much control as they can. I don't really think they're in it for the golfers either. I think the golfers are the biggest losers in this whole thing, and they're trying to make it more of a, an extended TV product than anything else. Eventually these major brands are going to become more difficult to watch and more self-funded by these major international backers that no one will care anymore. And that's and that sucks. There you go.
You good? Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he and Callan discussed this at such
that's
length
also
on
a good
episodes of
point.
Press Row.
It's also a good point too.
Yeah.
Anything that gives Bryson power should be shut down.
Shut it down!
I think the live is,
hello,
is
John
gonna be-
Taffer. There you go.
I was going to say Gordon Ramsay.
I'm really more curious to see who actually stepped in to give them the funding.
That's a good question. I don't know who it would be who stepped in, but it's got to be somebody who has a lot of money. And to Nick's point, I know what you were saying, Zan, but I feel like it's them doing this and money move out of desperation. Like they have done little to nothing. They've signed the talent, but it's like they've done little to nothing to really promote themselves as being, as I said before, the premium product.
Right. That's also a relevant point. Yep.
Like they're an alternative, but it's a clear difference between LIV and PGA. PGA is still way up here, and LIV is still way down here.
Mm-hmm.
Like the range is something else.
Yeah.
It's even worse than the range between UFC and PFL.
That's valid. Yep.
I kind of like watching live golf. I'll be honest with you. I feel like it's just another avenue, It's like the best way I can describe it is, I know you're showing the gap between PFL and UFC, and I see it, and it's a good metaphor. But to me, it's more akin to Whole Foods versus Trader Joe's. They both kind of do the same shit. They're both stupidly expensive.
Right.
You feel a little shittier about yourself while you're watching them do it. And at the end of the day, you feel like you paid for an experience and you're not quite really sure it's worth it, but you still got food at the end of it. I'm looking at it from perspective of going to see it as a spectator sport. When I watch golf, it's watching it on golf versus watching PGA versus watching LIV. At the end of the day, you're still watching golf,
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. Yep. Go ahead, Sam.
No, I was just gonna say it's like comparing a 3-course meal to a fast food meal. You're still getting food, but it's the quality of said food.
Well, I think the thing is, and here's where I agree with Connor, and it goes to something I've talked about on Fight IQ recently, especially with the news of the PFL and MVP's merger. Options are options for athletes. If you have alternative products, that is good. You learn in economics classes about what good competition can do for industry. And if you have good competition, good alternative products, then that's better choices and more choices for athletes in terms of what they can do for their careers, and more choices for fans. And it's going to drive these products to try and be better. Christy, I'll throw a wrestling one at you. Think of the Monday Night War and how it drove the products to try and be better, to try to be the mainstream that it can be, and try to hook in people. I just think that LIV hasn't lived up to the hype that it's set for itself. And Nick Morrison chiming in, Liv still owes hundreds of millions to players.
And I was going to say this, as you mentioned wrestling, it's like if you look at like WWE versus AEW, AEW is what Liv wishes it would be, like a true alternative to the PGA. Like AEW is a true alternative to WWE. They're both great, but one.
It's a clear number two. It's a clear number two, but there's an audience.
There is an audience. They want it. They gotta have it.
It's like when Impact, or now TNA, was number two. It's like there's still an audience there.
But TNA is now a clear number 3.
Right. I'm saying at the time, before AEW.
At the time, it was, yes.
So. That's what I'm saying. Like, when there's alternative products, that's great for an industry because, different folks are going to have different interests. So if you don't like this product, you can go with this one. There's an old, you can have your vanilla ice cream as long as I can have my chocolate, and they can have their strawberry, and they can have their mint chocolate chip.
Or they can have Rocky Road, or their French brownie. There you go.
That there's something for everybody.
There is.
And and then I'm actually going to transition this over to college football because there will be something for everybody on our college football show, because whether you're backing traditional Big Ten powerhouses or looking for value out west in the Pac-12, college football season isn't just about who wins. It's about who covers. If you want the sharpest news, deep team breakdowns, and the best against the spread angles before you set your Saturday slate, you need to be locked in to Forever Power 5 on the Empty the Bench Network. Join Big Ten insider Zan Bando and Pac-12 expert James Myers every week as these two classic conferences get acquainted. Zan and James break down the biggest storylines, analyze matchups, and deliver the betting edges you need to keep your bankroll in the green. Don't lock in your bets without hearing their takes first. Catch Forever Power 5 with Zan Bando and James Myers every Wednesday. Is it still 7:30 Eastern, or has that changed?
No, that is correct.
It is correct. Okay, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Empty the Bench Network, premiering in August. I believe it's premiering August 26th. Yep, August 26th.
That is correct. Yep.
So tune in, get the edge, and cover the board. Only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. And so I will just pull the gumball right now. Guys, any final thoughts as we close things out here on the ETB Lounge?
This was a fun stream. This was hilarious. It was the pleasure. It was a pleasure doing it with the three of you. It was going to be and as usual, I don't know when the next time it is that I will be on, just with all the football stuff I've been doing, but I've been enjoying these monthly appearances. I know I'll be seeing you a couple of times this week, Connor. I'm unsure when, I'll see you again, but Christy, I look forward to seeing you on Forecast in about a month, and yeah, I'm excited for the fall. Oh, guys, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So a lot of good stuff coming up, a lot of big football content, football forecast coming back, FP5 coming back, FP5 After Hours with Nick DiMartino premiering, Winners Get Money with James Myers and Nick DiMartino on Sundays. So a lot of good football stuff coming your way to the ETB Network, and then of course coming up this week, you've got, Christy with Between the Ropes on Saturday. Mm-hmm. You've got Zan and all his content he's got coming. You'll actually get Zan tomorrow on a special Monday morning edition of Zan Zinger Part 2.
The Iron Man.
It's a banger. I'm looking forward to doing it. For you guys that wanted extra recaps, you're going to get extra recaps and so much more with the extra day window. So tune in 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. You won't want to miss it.
And then Connor, of course.
Me with Unnecessary Wagers. We do it on Friday. Me and my boy Nate. Looking forward to seeing you guys there.
And you'll be seeing me tomorrow night on Fight IQ. We have a lot to talk about. And then you'll see me again for Puncher's Chance back in its Saturday slot, because there are no Friday cards for the first time. No Friday or international cards for the first time in what feels like a while. And Zan Bando will be my guest on Puncher's Chance this week because it's UFC 330. 2 title fights coming this Saturday. A lot to break down. And then, of course, we'll have the post show immediately following the event. So it's a big week for MMA. And there's a lot that's coming your way here on ETB Network, both this week and in general.
Yes, so stay tuned for all that. Stay tuned for Tom and his content later this week. The only thing you forgot was our newest episode of Tough Enough, which our season is winding down. So I'm excited about that. So
absolutely. Well, here's my final thought, people. That's going to do it for us here on the ETB Lounge. And over the last 2 hours, we've covered just about every corner of the sports world. From the fallout of the MLB Trade Deadline and the bizarre developments surrounding Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, to NFL contract extensions, the WNBA, Tony Romo, and J.J. Watt, and some major developments across the business of sports. And if there was one theme tonight, it's that so much of what happens in sports goes well beyond what we see between the lines. Front offices are deciding which players are worth massive investments. Leagues are deciding how far they can push their business models. Networks are deciding who they want in the broadcast booth. And teams are increasingly finding themselves at the intersection of sports, technology, gambling, and entertainment. We saw that in completely different ways tonight. MLB teams made their final pushes towards October. The NBA continues to investigate just how far the Clippers may have gone in trying to work around the salary cap. NFL teams are betting big on their young stars. CBS is figuring out its next steps with Tony Romo and J.J. Watt. And in the sports business world, FIFA, the Yankees, Polymarket, and Live Golf are all giving us a glimpse of where this industry could be heading next. A huge thank you to Zan Bando, Connor Rowland, and Christy Wilson for joining me tonight and bringing 3 very different perspectives to the conversation. And of course, thank you to everyone watching live. nearly 330 of you tonight. So shout out to all of you who have tuned in
Shout
to
out.
tonight's
And how
broadcast.
ironic that UFC 330 is next weekend.
Ah!
Oh, there we go. There we go.
See, the MMA power here brought this to 330. If you, of course, thank you to everyone watching live, everyone joining us in the chat, especially Nick Morgeson there, and everyone spending
Yes.
part of their Sunday evening with us here on the ETB Lounge. If you enjoyed tonight's show, make sure to subscribe to the Empty the Bench Network here on YouTube so you never miss an episode. We got plenty of content coming your way. And throughout the week, with football season getting closer and closer and the entire ETB network getting ready to kick things into another gear. And don't forget to check out the Football Forecast and Forever Power 5 as they get ready for the return of football season. There's a lot coming your way and you won't want to miss it. Programming note, Callan and Nick D will be back next Sunday, or so I've been told. If they don't show up again, though, 3 weeks in a row means I guess I'm claiming squatters' rights. And that accident...
Waters right.
So if you see me here next week again, I guess then I have accidentally inherited the lounge. Sorry, everyone. For everyone here at the Empty the Bench Network, I'm Albano. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the week ahead. And we'll see you next time here on the ETB Lounge. Good night, everybody.
Good
All right,
night.
everyone, cheers.